The Office star's stint as a vengeful vigilante in James Gunn's overlooked CBM is the reason why he should enter the DCU. Welcome to Stats In. If you're just joining us, please subscribe and don't forget to turn on notifications bell for more video. Although Rainn Wilson is primarily notable for his stint as Dwight from The Office, fans tend to overlook his chops in the realm of CBM. Super, in addition to being one of the more innovative superhero movies of the 2010s, was one of Wilson's more complex and powerful performances, which doesn't get enough credit. James Gunn's Super, starring Rainn Wilson, marked the former's CBM debut as a director and laid the groundwork for the misfit superhero trend that has remained prevalent in his works since then. With Gunn now in charge of an entire cinematic universe, Wilson deserves another shot at the superhero gig, especially with Gunn being open to more tonally distinct projects. Even though Super remains one of Gunn's more polarizing entries to date, given Wilson's blend of comedy and emotional depth, it's about time his chops are put to use in the live-action arena of the DC universe. It also helps that the actor has been a long admirer of Gunn's approach to movies, and for Super, it only took him 22 pages to be sold on the project, via Daily Actor. So if Gunn does showcase interest in casting Wilson for the DCU, there's a good chance the latter will chime in, maybe in the shoes of a more quirky and unconventional figure, which has proven to be Gunn's forte. Although Rainn Wilson is primarily notable for his stint as Dwight from The Office, fans tend to overlook his chops in the realm of CBM. Super, in addition to being one of the more innovative superhero movies of the 2010s, was one of Wilson's more complex and powerful performances, which doesn't get enough credit. Moreover, Wilson's comic book roots extend beyond Super, as he lent his voice for Lex Luthor in The Death of Superman, Reign of the Supermen, Batman, Hush, and Justice League Dark, Apocalypse War. Even though the role of Lex is off the table with Nicholas Hoult delivering an enthralling performance, there's definitely room for Wilson's chops in the DCU. The themes of loneliness and found family, featuring Elliot Page's Libby and Wilson's Frank, or damaged individuals trying to do the right thing, have been apparent in Gunn's other works. Super features Wilson in the shoes of Frank Darbo, a down-on-his-luck loser, who turns to crime fighting, not in the traditional way, but in a more unhinged and delusional fashion. But for all his shortcomings, viewers sympathize with Frank's motivations, especially in the face of his wife's relapse, who leaves him, as he still opts to do good, even though his approach proves to be dangerous. Whether it's the Guardians trilogy, which is all about outcasts and misfits finding a purpose, or Peacemaker, which further explores the illusion of righteousness at any cost, they all expand on the themes first explored in Super. With time, Gunn has only honed his craft, and had it not been for Super, we might not have witnessed the best trilogy in the MCU, and in extension, the new DCU, which is off to a solid start with Superman. What are your thoughts on Super? Share below. James Gunn has been on a roll after the release of Superman, and here's every major reveal by Gunn about Superman and his future projects. Welcome to Stats In. If you're just joining us, please subscribe and don't forget to turn on notifications bell for more video. Being a lighter and colorful take on the character of Superman, monologues and dialogue-heavy scenes weren't really James Gunn's style. Even if he did, it would probably be for comedic effect. Surprisingly enough, the DCU flick does feature a 12-minute dialogue scene between Lois Lane, played by Rachel Brosnahan, and Clark Kent, played by David Corenswet. Being weary of a world that had turned against the very superhero they prayed for, Superman flies through the open balcony of Lois Lane's apartment, where the two sit down to have a heart-to-heart talk about who Superman really is, while Lois Lane contemplates breaking up with him. James Gunn has been hammering and toiling away to create a cinematic universe that these DC characters can call their home. With the release of Superman, and the film getting rave reviews, including one for me, there has been a ton of chatter and revelations by director James Gunn about Superman and the DCU. From the potential return of Henry Cavill to James Gunn's DCU to Bradley Cooper almost starring as Lex Luthor instead of Nicholas Hoult, James Gunn's Superman is filled with riddles and secrets that Gunn recently revealed in the Happy Sad Confused podcast. Well, here's every major Superman reveal by James Gunn and what it means for the DCU. Throughout his extensive Hollywood career, James Gunn has always relied on songs from the 70s and the 80s to put the audience in a groove. Compared to his other superhero movies, Superman has a lack of songs and rather relies on the music score composed by John Murphy and David Fleming to set the tone of the movie. Although there are songs in the movie, they are used sparingly throughout the entire 129-minute runtime, remember, punk rocker, in the closing credits. During his talks with the Happy Sad Confused podcast, the director reveals that the 12-minute talking scene was the biggest creative risk that he took in a superhero movie, but it paid off well. Before he was cast in the role of Jor-El alongside Angela Sarafian as Lara Lorvan, Bradley Cooper was initially considered by James Gunn to portray the role of Lex Luthor. However, the actor revealed in the podcast that he wanted Lex Luthor to be contemporary of Superman's age. And since Bradley Cooper was a little bit older, he wouldn't fit in the age range of David Corenswet's Superman. Gunn admitted that Cooper would have been a great Lex. With that age factor in mind, Gunn decided to take Nicholas Hoult as Lex Luthor. Gunn revealed in the Happy Sad Confused podcast that this decision was scary, since he hadn't done it before. Several of the original scores had to be toned down and made lighter to fit the theme of the movie, and the movie, Jor-El's remaining half of a message is decoded by Lex Luthor. The latter half of the message instructs Superman to conquer Earth and make it a second Krypton. Throughout the movie, audiences are kept in the dark about whether that message was fabricated by Lex Luthor or was it real. However, in the podcast, James Gunn revealed that Jor-El and Lara's message is real and not at all doctored. The reason for this controversial choice was that Gunn wanted the audience to realize that Superman was his own person with his beliefs and moral codes, despite being directly ordered by his biological parents to conquer the home where he was raised. However, James Gunn did give Bradley Cooper his due screen time when he cast Cooper in the role of Jor-El, who appears in a hologram message in Superman. However, as the trailer dropped and hype started, people started accepting David Corenswet as the new Man of Steel and eventually fell in love with his portrayal, again, me being one of them. When David Corenswet was initially cast as Superman, there was an intense backlash because of Henry Cavill's controversial exit and his millions of fans, me being one of them. In a movie, we are introduced to some new and old characters from James Gunn's DCU, namely, Guy Gardner/Green Lantern, Nathan Fillion, Hawkgirl, Isabella Merced, and Mr. Terrific, Eddie Gathegi. The three heroes call themselves the Justice Gang and are financed by Maxwell Lord, who was played by Pedro Pascal in Wonder Woman 1984, and the film depicts an unfinished Hall of Justice building. The murals depict several heroes like Jay Garrick, Flash, Alan Scott, Green Lantern, and Dr. Fate, which suggests a history of the Justice Society of America. During his talks with IMDb, James Gunn revealed that he was watching the 2022 horror film Pearl. Corenswet had portrayed the role of the projectionist, and Gunn thought, that guy looks like he could possibly be Superman. A quick search on IMDb brought the actor's name, and the rest, as we know, is history. However, Cavill soon announced his departure from the newly formed DCU, which made Bloodsport's Peacemaker shout-out is official canon, hinting at exciting spin-offs and deeper character arcs in the DCU's next phase. Welcome to Stats In. If you're just joining us, please subscribe and don't forget to turn on notifications bell for more video. This isn't just a fun piece of trivia. It sets up Bloodsport as a key player in the future of the DCU. And since Gunn's new era is all about flawed characters with messy pasts, Bloodsport fits